Somewhere along the way, something about you triggered attention of a different kind. Not praise, not applause. Scrutiny, quiet phones, closed rooms. People whose job is to observe without being observed. They didn't just ask questions. They paid for answers, and they didn't do it randomly. Let's be clear about something before your mind runs wild. This isn't about fantasy or exaggeration. This is about patterns, about systems, about how power reacts when something moves outside expectation. You didn't announce growth. You didn't declare ambition. You simply adjusted your behavior. And that was enough. Because when someone stops acting according to the script, the people who wrote the script feel exposed. You became an irregularity, a variable, and variables are always investigated. Here's what most people never understand. Attention doesn't come from noise. Noise is common. Silence with direction is rare. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped justifying your decisions. You stopped reacting emotionally to every little trigger placed in front of you. That kind of restraint makes others uncomfortable because they can't read you. And when people can't read you, they can't predict you. When they can't predict you, they feel unsafe. You didn't change who you were. You changed how you moved. You became efficient, focused, detached from unnecessary drama. You delivered without asking to be applauded. You corrected mistakes without blaming anyone. You kept your head down, but your standards high. That combination is unsettling because it exposes how much of the environment depends on chaos, validation, and control. Your calm became a mirror, and not everyone likes what they see reflected back. Understand this clearly. Investigations don't start because someone is reckless. They start because someone is disciplined. Because discipline removes dependency. And dependency is how systems maintain order. The moment you stop needing approval, you reduce their leverage over you. That's when curiosity turned into concern. Who trained them? Who are they aligned with? What do they know that we don't? Those questions don't come from admiration. They come from fear. No. Most people chase attention thinking it equals power. You didn't. You realized power is quiet. It's consistent. It's knowing when to speak and when silence does more damage than words. You listened more than you talked. You observed dynamics instead of participating in them. While others performed for recognition, you gathered information. That alone separates you. Because performers are replaceable, observers with discipline are not. Here's the part that makes people uneasy. You didn't rush. You didn't scramble. You didn't show desperation. You operated as if time was on your side. And nothing alarms fragile structures more than someone who isn't in a hurry, because urgency is easy to manipulate. Calm patience is not. When someone isn't reactive, they can't be rushed into making mistakes. And that's when monitoring begins. Let's talk about the real reason private investigators get involved. It's not about proving guilt. It's about assessing risk, measuring potential, asking whether this person could disrupt the balance later. You didn't break rules. You made rules look unnecessary. You showed that self-control can exist without supervision, that accountability can exist without threats. And that kind of independence raises red flags for anyone who relies on control to stay relevant. If you felt it, trust that feeling. The odd pauses when you enter a room, the questions that sound casual but feel calculated, the sudden interest in your past, your habits, your connections. That's not a coincidence. That's an assessment. You quietly outgrew the role assigned to you. And when growth happens without permission, it unsettles those who benefit from keeping others small. This is only the beginning, because there are 3 specific things about you that triggered this reaction. 3 shifts that changed how you're perceived without you ever saying a word. And once you understand them, you'll realize this was never about fear. It was about recognition, not who you claim to be, but of who you are becoming. Now we can talk about the first thing, because this is where it truly began. It didn't start when you achieved more, or when results showed up. It started when you withdrew. You stopped broadcasting your inner world. You stopped narrating every struggle, every plan, every emotion. That silence wasn't emptiness. It was containment. You learned to hold your thoughts instead of handing them out freely. And when people lost access to your inner reactions, they lost control. That loss didn't make them angry at first. It made them curious. People are comfortable when they know how to read you, when they can predict your reactions and pull information from you without effort. You ended that comfort quietly, not with confrontation, not with distance, with selectivity. You chose when to speak and when to remain still, and that shift made you opaque. Once you became difficult to read, conversation turned into observation. When answers disappear, watching replaces asking. The second thing unsettled them even more. And this one was impossible to ignore. You became consistent. Not intense for a short burst, not disciplined only when motivated, but steady, reliable, calm in your effort. You showed up the same way whether anyone noticed or not. That kind of consistency doesn't come from pressure. It comes from standards. And systems built on supervision don't trust people who regulate themselves. No. Think carefully about why that matters. Someone who needs reminders is manageable. Someone who needs praise is predictable. But someone who improves without being pushed cannot be rushed, distracted, or easily redirected. You didn't chase titles. You didn't plead for recognition. You kept refining your work quietly. And quiet refinement exposes how much of the environment depends on urgency, competition, and noise to survive. The third thing is the one nobody admits openly, yet everyone feels. You stopped competing. You didn't announce it. You didn't disengage dramatically. You simply stopped measuring yourself against others. No comparisons. No visible jealousy. No need to prove anything. That absence is unsettling, because competition keeps people reactive and distracted. When you opt out, your focus sharpens, and focused individuals are difficult to manipulate. When someone doesn't compete, observers start asking deeper questions. What are they building? Why aren't they rushing? What do they see that we don't? Because competition keeps attention scattered. Non-competitive focus suggests long-term thinking, and long-term thinkers rarely move without intention. That's when background checks begin. Not to accuse, but to calculate your trajectory. Notice something important here. None of these changes were loud. None were aggressive. None broke rules. They were internal shifts. And internal shifts are harder to control than visible actions. You didn't rebel. You detached. And detachment weakens invisible control structures more than confrontation ever could. That's why the attention felt strange. Not hostile, not friendly, just watchful. They weren't searching for mistakes. They were studying patterns, trying to predict where you might be years from now, trying to decide whether you would remain manageable or become influential. Because influence doesn't start with followers. It starts with self-discipline. Understand this clearly. Being investigated doesn't mean you did something wrong. It means you did something right in a system that prefers dependency. You showed that progress can happen without constant oversight, that growth doesn't require permission, and once that possibility is demonstrated, it unsettles those who benefit from control. So don't shrink now. Don't over-explain. Don't perform innocence. That would undo the very shifts that brought you here. Stay precise. Stay observant. Stay controlled. Not from fear, from understanding. Because once you know why attention found you, you stop being intimidated by it. This isn't about paranoia. It's about intention. You've already crossed a threshold quietly. You've already signaled something different, and now the only real decision left is whether you continue evolving with discipline or retreat into predictability to make others comfortable. Now comes the part that separates people who survive attention from people who collapse under it. What you do after being noticed matters more than what got you noticed in the first place. This is where most people make the mistake. They panic. They rush to explain. They soften their edges to appear harmless. That instinct is natural, and it is dangerous, because the moment you try to look smaller, you confirm that you were never in control to begin with. The first thing you must do is resist the urge to perform. No sudden changes, no exaggerated politeness, no dramatic displays of loyalty or innocence. Performance signals fear, and fear invites pressure. Instead, remain consistent. The same tone, the same pace, the same standards. Consistency is stabilizing. It tells observers that what they're seeing isn't a phase, it's a baseline. And baselines are respected far more than reactions. Next, tighten your boundaries without announcing them. This is subtle. You don't need walls. You need filters. Speak less about your plans. Share outcomes, not processes. Let people see results without seeing the machinery behind them. When access decreases calmly, curiosity fades, because there's nothing emotional to grab onto. You're not hiding. You're simply not volunteering. And that distinction matters. At the same time, sharpen your awareness, not suspicion, awareness. Pay attention to patterns, not individuals. Who ask questions when they ask them? What information seems to circulate? You're not hunting threats. You're reading the environment. This isn't about defense. It's about positioning. The more accurately you understand the terrain, the less reactive you need to be. Here's something few people are told. Attention is a test, not of your innocence, of your discipline. Investigations lose interest in people who remain boring under pressure. Calm confuses systems that expect emotional leakage. When nothing leaks, there's nothing to exploit. Your job isn't to impress, it's to remain neutral while continuing to progress. Another critical move is patience. Do not accelerate to prove momentum. Do not slow down to appear safe. Maintain your rhythm. Time reveals intent more clearly than explanation ever could. Those watching are trying to determine whether you burn fast or build steadily. Let time answer for you. Quiet persistence is exhausting for observers who rely on quick conclusions. Also understand this. You don't need to confront anything directly. Confrontation creates stories. Stories create noise. Noise creates opportunity for misinterpretation. Silence paired with competence leaves no narrative to twist. When there's nothing dramatic to report, attention naturally shifts elsewhere. There is a difference between shrinking and refining. You are not asked to disappear. You are asked to become precise. Fewer words, cleaner actions, clearer priorities. Precision makes you harder to mislabel. Vague people are easy to define for others. Precise people define themselves through behavior. And here's the final truth of this stage. Being watched means you've outgrown something. Comfort, roles, expectations. This isn't punishment. It's transition. You've moved from being background noise to being a data point. And data points either get dismissed or taken seriously. Which outcome happens depends on how controlled you remain under observation. So continue forward, calmly, quietly, intentionally. Let your discipline speak when you don't. Let your consistency replace explanation. Because the moment you stop trying to manage perception, perception loses its grip on you. This is where the pressure thins out. Not because attention disappears overnight, but because you change how it affects you. Most people believe relief comes when eyes turn away. That's wrong. Relief comes when observation no longer alters your behavior. The moment you stop reacting internally, the situation loses weight, and weightless things don't stay suspended for long. Now you enter a quieter phase. Not silence, but depth. You stop measuring your days by who noticed and who didn't. You measure them by alignment, by whether your actions matched your standards. This shift is subtle, but it changes everything. Because once your internal approval replaces external response, attention has nowhere to attach. There's nothing to pull, nothing to provoke. Here's something important to understand. Observers are not looking for perfection. They're looking for cracks, emotional leaks, inconsistencies, moments where pressure causes deviation. When none appear, interest fades, not dramatically. Gradually, like a conversation that runs out of questions. Calm endurance is boring to those who expect spectacle. This is also where many people self-sabotage without realizing it. They grow proud of being watched. They hint at it. They perform mystery. That reactivates curiosity instantly. Don't do that. There is no reward for appearing significant. Significance is proven by outcomes, not attention. When you treat observation as irrelevant, it becomes irrelevant. Another shift happens here. And it's critical. You begin to see clearly who thrived on your previous predictability, who benefited when you were reactive, available, eager, not with resentment, with clarity. This awareness isn't meant to isolate you. It's meant to refine your circles. Fewer expectations, cleaner interactions, less emotional labor wasted on proving yourself. Your focus now must move forward, not outward. Build skills that compound quietly. Strengthen habits that don't require applause. Invest in systems that function whether anyone is watching or not. When progress becomes internalized, it no longer triggers alarms because it doesn't depend on visibility. It depends on structure. No. Here's the paradox. The more grounded you become, the less interesting you appear to those who are watching. And that's a success. Because attention was never the goal. Autonomy was. Stability was. The ability to move through environments without being pulled into unnecessary tension. That's the real win. Somebody knows. Somebody's scribbling, plotting, calculating, all the ways they think they can break you, take you down. And you're walking blind. You think you're safe, but safety is a lie, a thin veil, a curtain that trembles in the slightest breeze of truth. And tonight the truth is coming. See, life isn't about waiting for the good days. It isn't about polite smiles or nodding along. No, no, no. Life is a mirror, and it shows exactly what you refuse to see. People will talk. People will whisper. People will point fingers. Some will even pretend to help. But underneath, under that mask of concern, they're planning how to control you, to cage you, to make you fear every shadow, every step, every heartbeat. It's deliciously ironic. The ones who claim to care are often the architects of your own paranoia. Do you feel it? That tension crawling up your spine? That shiver in your gut that tells you someone knows more than you do? Good. That's alive. That's sharp. That's your weapon. Fear isn't weakness. Fear is the spark. The spark that can ignite fire, and fire, my friend, doesn't ask permission. Fire burns through lies, through betrayal, through everyone who thought you were easy to fold, easy to silence. And when that fire hits, it hits hard, it hits fast. And suddenly, all those plans, all those whispers, they're nothing. You see, the world is full of puppets, and puppets love to gossip. Puppets love to scheme. Puppets live in the illusion that they hold the strings. But here's the secret. They'll never tell you. The strings exist only because you let them exist. One cut, one move, and the puppet master becomes the puppet. And you're learning that tonight. Right now, every plan, every shadowed threat, every hidden agenda, it's fuel for your mind, your resolve, your rise. Because when someone plots against you, it's not a threat, it's an invitation, a test, a chance to show them who really moves in the darkness. Did you think it would be easy? Did you think the world would hand you victories on a silver plate? No, it whispers, it taunts. It corners you in ways that make you doubt every choice. And yes, it's terrifying. Terrifying is the doorway. The doorway to focus, to clarity, to power. You didn't know you had until you felt every eye on you, every ear listening, every whisper echoing in your mind. Every shadow becomes a map. Every doubt becomes a compass. Every threat becomes motivation. And in that chaos, you find yourself. So listen carefully. Really listen. Because by the end of this talk, you're not going to run. You're not going to hide. You're going to rise. And rise isn't polite. Rise isn't quiet. Rise is fire. And it leaves no room for anyone who doubts you, for anyone who plots against you, for anyone who thought they could tell you what to do or who to be. Yes, it's dark, deliciously dark. And in that darkness, you are the one holding the match. The stage is set, the whispers are loud, and the plans are clear. Somebody is going to tell you, or maybe they're going to tell the authorities, or maybe it's all just smoke. But smoke can't stand in the path of someone who knows their own power. And tonight, that someone is you. Step closer. Step into the fire. Watch the world tremble when it realizes that all their plotting, all their whispering, it doesn't matter. Not anymore, not ever. Welcome. Welcome to the edge, where fear becomes fuel, where tension becomes strategy, where every shadow whispers your name. Somebody's plotting, somebody's scheming, but here's the joke. You've already won. Now that you're awake, now that the whispers are loud in your mind, it's time to act. Not recklessly, not violently, but smart, surgical, precise. The first thing you need to understand, knowledge is power. Every shadow you feel, every plot you suspect, every secret plan whispered behind closed doors, it's data. And data can be weaponized. Yes, weaponized not to harm, but to survive, to outthink, to outmaneuver. Step 1, watch. Watch everyone. Watch the patterns, the timing, the tells. People leak information without realizing it. They think small, they talk big, they assume you're blind. Nah, you see everything. Every laugh, every glance, every hesitated word, it's a breadcrumb trail. Follow it, map it, turn it into a web, and when the web is complete, that's when the fun begins. Step 2, anticipate. Anticipation is where the predators falter. The planners, the whisperers, they think they're ahead because they act fast. But you act smarter. You move like water, silent, shaping yourself around every obstacle. Every threat becomes predictable when you know how it thinks. Every plan, every scheme, they are books, and you are reading them, slowly, carefully. Deliciously carefully. Step 3, control the narrative. Everyone is busy plotting against you. Everyone thinks they know the story. But you write it. You control what's seen, what's known, what's whispered. Subtlety is your ally. Silence is your friend. A single word, a single gesture, a single calculated move can shift the entire landscape. And when the world bends to your narrative, when the whispers begin to follow your lead, oh, it's beautiful. So beautiful. Step 4, turn fear into fuel. Fear is energy. It sharpens focus. It heightens senses. It awakens instincts you didn't know existed. Every time somebody thinks they can corner you, every time they believe they can outsmart you, smile. Use that tension. Channel it. Let it ignite the engine inside your mind. Let it sharpen your strategy until you're unstoppable in thought, unstoppable in movement, unstoppable in resolve. Yes, feel it. The pulse, the thrill, the anticipation. Step 5, act, but not blindly, not in chaos. Calculated, deliberate. Each move is a chess piece. Each step is a story. You don't rush. You don't panic. You outthink. You outmaneuver. And when the time comes to strike, or simply to assert your presence, you do it flawlessly. No one even sees it coming. The whispers? Silenced. The plots? Collapsed. The tension? Flipped. Turned into awe, into fear, into respect. It's all coming together now, isn't it? The world that thought it could trap you, control you, silence you, it's trembling at the edges. And here's the truth, it's not about revenge. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. About showing that when the world builds walls, you build ladders. When the world throws shadows, you bring light. Not naive light. No, the kind of light that exposes, that clarifies, that elevates you above the whispers, above the schemes, above the fear. So remember this. Somebody is always watching. Somebody is always scheming. Somebody thinks they have the upper hand. Let them. Let them feel clever. Let them think they know the story. Because you are reading the story. You are writing the story. You are the author of the chaos, the calm, the storm. And in the end, when the smoke clears, when the whispers die, when the tension fades, the only thing left is you. Stronger, sharper, untouchable in your mind, untouchable in your strategy. Ah, yes, now rise. Not recklessly, not loudly, but deliberately. Step into the shadows with purpose. Move in silence. Speak only when it matters. And watch as the world realizes the plans, the whispers, the threats. They were never the danger. You were. And now, you always will be. Can you feel it? That surge, that crackling energy running under your skin, that tension that once threatened to crush you, now fuels you. Every whisper, every shadow, every secret plan, they're not chains, they're wings. Yes, wings to rise above the fear, above the plotting, above the noise that thought it could define you. Tonight, the game flips. Tonight, you are the storm. Step into it. Embrace it. The world is waiting, oh yes, waiting for you to stumble. But stumble? Not tonight. Not ever. The shadows that once whispered your name now tremble at the sound of it. You've watched. You've learned. You've mapped the moves of the schemers, the talkers, the planners. And now you move. Silent, swift, calculated. The first step doesn't announce itself. The second doesn't apologize. Each move is poetry. Each gesture is a statement. And the world has no choice but to pay attention. Let me tell you something beautiful. Chaos doesn't scare you. Chaos is a canvas. Every threat, every plot, every hidden agenda, they are colors. And you are the painter. You decide what emerges. Shadows that once intimidated, tools. Doubts that once paralyzed, fuel. Every somebody plotting against you is just another line in your masterpiece. And the masterpiece? Oh, it's terrifyingly brilliant. So brilliantly terrifying that they'll never see it coming. This is the moment. The edge. The point where tension becomes triumph. Where fear becomes focus. Where whispers turn into echoes of your power. You are no longer reacting. You are initiating. You are designing the flow of the game. Every glance, every word, every move now carries weight. Can you feel it? That energy. The quiet but unrelenting force of someone who knows exactly what they're capable of. That is you. That is strength. That is clarity. And here's the ultimate truth. Somebody will always try to tell you how to act, what to fear, who to trust. Let them. Let them whisper. Let them plot. Their words, their schemes, their fear, it's all ammunition. And you are the weapon. Not loud, not reckless, but precise. Deadly. Brilliantly invisible until the perfect moment, when the time comes. The world will realize too late that they never had the upper hand. Never. Now rise. Rise from the tension. Rise from the doubt. Rise from the plotting shadows with a presence that cannot be ignored. Step into every room, every moment, every challenge, knowing that the whispers, the schemes, the secrets, they are powerless against the one who sees clearly, thinks sharply, and moves deliberately. You are the force, you are the fire, and the plans meant to unnerve you. They've become the fuel for your brilliance. Remember this. Tonight, the world tried to cage you. Tonight, the whispers tried to corner you. Tonight, you danced with shadows and came out stronger. Every somebody plotting against you is now part of your story, part of your rise, part of your mastery. Yes. And the best part? The story doesn't end here. It keeps building. It keeps climbing. It keeps proving that you are unstoppable in thought, unstoppable in strategy, unstoppable in the quiet, relentless power of someone who refuses to be controlled. And there it is. That moment, that thrill, that clarity. You've transformed fear into fuel, whispers into insight, shadows into strategy. You've learned the truth. The world doesn't define you. The schemes don't define you. The tension doesn't define you. You define you. And when the world finally sees you, they'll know. They'll finally understand. The fire was always yours. Now listen closely. This isn't the end. No, this is the beginning. Every whisper, every shadow, every plot you once feared, they are behind you now. The world expects you to stumble. It expects you to hesitate. But you've stepped into the fire and come out sharper, stronger, smarter. The fire was never a threat. It was a test, and you passed. Remember this. Somebody will always talk. Somebody will always plan. Somebody will always doubt you. Let them play their small games while you rise above, silent and unstoppable in strategy. The moment they think they have the upper hand, that's when you remind them who truly moves the pieces. Yes. Let them whisper. Let them scheme. You are already beyond their reach. And here's the beauty, the ultimate thrill. You are now the force in the shadows, the one who watches, the one who knows, the one who shapes what others only pretend to understand. Every plan, every plot, every tension-filled corner of the world, they are yours to read, yours to master, yours to turn into fuel. Imagine that. Every doubt thrown at you, feeding your rise. Every fear meant to cage you, igniting your power. So step forward. Step deliberately. Step with fire in your mind, with clarity in your vision, with the quiet, deadly joy of someone who has learned the truth. The world cannot define you. The whispers cannot contain you. The plots cannot stop you. The world is yours. Not because it bends to you, but because you move where others cannot even see. And now the story truly begins. The whispers, they fade. The tension, it sharpens. The shadowed plans, they fuel your rise. And the world finally learns that you were never the one being cornered. No. You were always the one in control. Always. Now feel it. The weight of every whisper, every shadow, every plotted word, they've transformed. No longer chains, no longer threats. They are your mirror, and in that mirror, you see clarity. You see control. You see the power that only someone who has stared into the darkness and refused to blink can claim. Yes, this is the awakening. Step carefully, but step boldly. Every move now carries intention. Every thought now carries weight. Every glance now carries the authority of someone who knows the rules and rewrites them. The world that once thought it could corner you trembles now. They don't see you yet, but they will. And when they do, the realization will be exquisite. Exquisite in its quiet horror. Remember, fear is no longer the enemy. Doubt is no longer the obstacle. Every plot against you, every hidden agenda, every somebody thinking they are clever has been converted into fuel, into insight, into mastery. You are no longer reacting. You are orchestrating. The tension, the whispers, the threats, they are your instruments. And you are the maestro. Look around. The shadows are thick. The world is loud with schemes, but none of it can touch you. You've risen above. You've stepped into the dark with purpose. You've turned fear into fuel, whispers into strategy, and tension into clarity. And now, at this final edge, you see the ultimate truth. Control was never theirs. It was always yours. So carry it forward. Move silently. Speak rarely. Strike deliberately. Not to harm, but to assert. Every step, every thought, every action now echoes the truth you've embraced. You are not the hunted. You are the one who moves unseen, who commands the shadows, who turns chaos into opportunity. Yes. This is power. This is clarity. This is your dominion. And now, the world whispers, the shadows watch, and the tension hums. But you stand above it all, calm, calculated, unseen yet unavoidable. The story was never theirs to tell. It was always yours. And tonight, tomorrow, and every moment after, you will remind them